Man, it's really been so long since I've been in front of a camera. Welcome back to my channel. This video is I've been wanting to make this for a very long time. I've been extremely hesitant. I guess my unwillingness to share certain things, but I think this would be extremely helpful, so I'm gonna share it. So this is my testimony. In my life to God, it was late 2017 after I graduated from college. I was applying to grad school for 2018 and I was just trying to figure out where to go, honestly. I was indecisive. Obviously I prayed about it, like, you know, Lord, give me a sign. I don't know what school to go to, and it was between two schools. It was between it was between Simmons, I think, and Springfield College. Yeah. So I'm like, I just didn't know what school to go to. I knew it was God that led me out here because everything was starting to match up. Like, at first, I applied to both schools. I only got into Springfield College. Let's just start there. Two, there was this girl from my church who was actually moving to Springfield as well. So boom, I got an apartment. So everything was just lining up. So I knew it was God that told me to move to Springfield. And boy, was that a time. Like, that was a difficult time. This will always be a staple moment in my life and in my walk with God because He really brought me through the waters. But it reminds me of that scripture. I think it's Isaiah 43:10. I think it is. And it's like, if you know, He's going to bring me through the waters, but I won't drown. You know, I'll go through the fire, but I won't smell burnt. Basically what He did. When I tell you guys, it was a struggle. When I first moved there, it was so hard for me to like hold down a job. And obviously I had rent, and at the time, like, skyrocketed. The rent was like $900 on top of electricity, on top of gas, on top of food. I couldn't hold down a job. So how am I paying for that, you know? So off rip, stressed. Like, stressed. So that was happening. And then I think maybe 6 months in, I got a secure job, but it still wasn't enough to pay my rent. So it's like my mom was helping me, my boyfriend was helping me, like, and I felt so bad because I'm like, God, how am I taking from the poor to give to the poor, which is myself, to help me pay my rent? Like, my mom has her own rent and my boyfriend has his own responsibilities, and it's like they were helping me, and it was just that was such a difficult time. I was very stubborn, and I didn't really want to tell my roommate because, you know, she had the money and she was all set, and I guess I felt a kind of way, so I didn't really want to share that information with her, and it's not her responsibility to, you know, help me. So I don't know, I just didn't share that. But I was very stressed, I was very depressed. I was going to school at the time too, so it was very hard to kind of focus on my like education. And then I got at home, I'm stressing because I can't pay my rent, I can't pay electricity. There was times where I went without eating. There was times I went without having food. I remember too, like, I had to boil water on the stove, and then, like, you know, have ice cubes in order to like drink like water because I didn't have any. Like, I didn't have any money. I didn't have money for gas. I remember there was a time too during that year that I was at that house, my car broke down, and it's like, you know, it's like, and I remember so many times where I cried myself to sleep, and I'm like, God, like, you brought me out here, you know. It was like literally isolation from my friends, from my boyfriend, from my family. So I was literally out in Springfield by myself. At least that's what it felt like. And I'm thankful for my friend from school, because he was out here, and, you know, sometimes I was able to go to his house and his mom would cook, or, you know, he would help me out a lot. So I'm really, really thankful for him. And through all that, I was still like, God, where are you? You know, like, I'm literally struggling. Like, like I said, my car broke down. So there was times where I had a job. I found a job, thank God. And I had to walk. Good thing that the job that I had was like somewhat close to my house, driving distance, but walking distance, it was like maybe like 30 minutes. 40 probably. And I walked it. I had to walk from school, I had to walk from my job, and it was such a depressing time. It was like it was so sad. It really was. And what I've learned through that experience is, in order to get through something, you got to go through it. And that's what I learned, because in that year, things didn't get better. It took a whole year. Things did not turn around. Everything remained the same. Every time when, like, I begin now to like kind of waver in my faith or like struggle with my trust in God, I go back to that moment, because if He can get me through that, He can get me through anything. I'm thankful now that, you know, I'm secured with my finances. You know, like, I have a stable home, I have food, I have like things to drink, you know, I have a car, I can put money in my car, gas in my car. So I'm so thankful that I'm not where I was, but it really did help me. And every time now, like whenever I have friends that are going through a situation, I tell them about what happened. Like, if God did it for me, he can do it for you. And he really, really, really pulled me so close to him, because I could not rely on anything else but him in that moment. I'm telling you, there was times I cried myself to sleep. I was listening to worship music. I remember telling God, I'm not leaving from your presence until I feel better. You know what I mean? Like, it was such a terrible time. It really was. But I thank God for it, because if it wasn't for that moment, my faith wouldn't be as strong as it is now. You know what I mean? Like, I know that God got me. I know that he's going to get me through whatever situation comes my way, because he's done it before. Yeah. But yeah, that was such a difficult moment. And it just makes me like so sad anytime I think about it, because I know how I felt in the moment. You know, when you don't have money to pay your bills, you don't have, or the money that I did have went straight to bills, so I had no money for anything else. Like, it was so hard. It was so hard, man. Going days without eating, and it's like I don't want to tell my family because they're already helping me pay my rent. I don't want to tell them now, can you give me money for food? Can you give me money for this? Ugh. But I just want to just share that testimony just so you guys know that when we go through situations, it's only to, like Paul said, it's for endurance, to help our faith grow. That's literally what it is, and to help build our character. So it's like, you know, if things just went peachy clean all the time, it's like, you know, our faith and our trust in God wouldn't be as strong. So it's like, I think that these trials and tribulations are necessary for us to go through so that we can grow. All in all is trust in God. Like, you may be going through something right now and you're really like, okay, Lord, what's going on? But trust in him. Like, there is always light at the end of the tunnel. That's why it's like, it makes me so sad whenever I hear about people committing suicide or anything like that, because it's like, you just never know. Your situation can turn around. Like I said, it took me a whole year for my situation to turn around. Things will get better. Just give it time. And in that moment, look at, like, you know, in that moment, focus on God. Because if you focus on him, everything else seems irrelevant. Everything else is so small. Everything else is, you know, non-existent if I'm focused on one thing. You get what I mean? I really hope that I did help. At this point, I feel like I'm rambling on, but just wanted to share my testimony with you guys, share what God brought me through, and yeah, that you can get through it too.